Is it going? Here we go. All right. How's everybody doing? Get my links up here. There's one. There's two. And let's go for 3. All right. Well, I'm happy to report that my throat is much better this week, so hopefully I don't sound quite as bad as last week. But yes, okay, who we got here? We got John, Part-Time Comics, Eli, BMC Comics, Jeremy, Matthew. Hey guys. Folks, thanks for coming by. Okay, so get a drink of water here. I started a minute late, I think, because I just started drawing up on the drawing after I sat down, and I was like, I got kind of lost for a minute. Well, tonight, you guys are gonna see, if you stick around, some of me working on the new issue of ERIS that I am in the middle of right now, drawing, and nobody's really seen any of it yet, so you guys are kind of seeing the first stuff here. I'm probably not going to finish what I'm working on tonight because it's a giant 2-page spread, as you can see, but I'll chip away at it for a little bit with y'all. But before that, I thought it might be cool to look at well, first this is ERIS number 2, so there's 2 issues so far. Third issue's on the way this year, co-written by my brother Logan and me, and then it's a kind of a sci-fi action comic is the best way to put it. Super violent, kind of weird, kind of mysterious, a little bit experimental in places, but lots of big fights in all the issues, but especially in issue 2, and then in issue 3, the king of all fights will be happening. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out on my website. I don't have any more copies of issue 1 available, but I do sell a digital copy of it if you're interested. But I do have issue 2 in stock right now. So that's what I'm going to be working on tonight, is the 3rd issue of this. But sometimes before I get going, I've been having a hard time today, if I'm being honest, working, finding my groove. And so sometimes when I'm feeling like that, it helps me to to look at look at a book, look at a comic, or look at some art books or something, and sort of just kind of loosen up and kind of see if I can glean something from it. And so since I'm drawing a big fight, I thought it might be cool to look through this Blood Debt Wolverine story by Steve Skroce. Steve Skroce, famously of the Matrix storyboards, but did some really cool comics too. Some really neat stuff. So this one is really neat if you haven't seen it before. It's a Steve Skroce written and drawn, and then with Larry Stucker on inks. And who's on colors on this? Steve Bucaletto and color graphics. Hello Eli again. Hello Hollifield. Oh cool, we got 10 folks here. Stick around for a bit, folks. We're going to talk about this Wolverine comic for a minute and then do some drawing. Wow, wow. What a great image. Sorry guys, again, this is the camera setup I've got to work with, so, but man, he's good. Skroce can find a lot of power in figures. He's really good at kind of the kind of overlapping musculature, everything feels very tangible that he draws. Kind of a cool little 2-page panel layout here. I'm just going to flip through it and see what stands out to me, if I can pull anything from it. He would do these really cool kind of extreme like perspective drawings where, you know, you'd have like a figure that kind of is really close in the foreground and some really kind of warped and super close in perspective lines. It was really neat. Really made for some really dynamic stuff. I think he did some Gambit stuff that was really cool. He draws a cool Wolverine, kind of squat. This is really nice up here. Kind of little tiny lines in there, giving some not just texture and detail, but like a sort of a tone. Wow, that's a lot of word balloons. You'll never see that many word balloons in my comics in one panel. It's a different style. This is very throwback. He definitely feels at times kind of like a John Byrne influence on his stuff. But then he transitions to some of these really wide panels that don't feel quite as Byrne-ish. Yeah, his ASM run was really good. But I remember seeing some art from this. I can't remember where the first place I saw it. And then after this had already come out and been collected is when I finally picked it up. Because I've really liked Scrose's stuff. And this is kind of my sort of jam. He definitely, you know, comes from a similar school as Darrow in some regard, where he does these big action scenes that are kind of static but filled with detail and depth. And that's that sort of slow motion feel. I feel like that translates into how they did bullet time stuff in The Matrix. I feel like they were trying to capture moments like this, which I think they were successful at. I think that was a really neat thing. I kind of wish it hadn't been so overused that it kind of just now nobody does bullet time stuff, you know. But these kinds of images are sort of what, you know, it slows down because everything's in crisp focus, you know. And you can sort of just be in this chaotic moment, like really living in it, which is pretty neat. He always gives a lot of good geography to his action scenes, which is nice. I'm not crazy about these Stucker inks, but I kind of like maybe more of a solid line with maybe Carl Kerschel type of hatching on the edge of a solid black would be nice here. But the detail and stuff is all coming through, so he's definitely doing a good job. Yeah, these kind of cool panels where there's like a person with an object sort of pointing straight out at you, you know? And he uses these silhouettes nice. I need to continue to try to learn from that. Like, this is a really cool shot, this pause here of all the ninjas and, you know, dudes fighting Wolverine, and it's a silhouette with this super detailed background behind it. Of this busy, I assume this is Tokyo or somewhere, skyline. And then zooms way out here. His stuff's kind of clean line, but then with these big blocky, big blobby sort of blacked out areas. Yeah, kind of like Hard Boiled, Eli, for sure. Fatal J. My art style is amazing, different from a lot of artists. Thanks, man. Thank you. As far as another Book It image, you know, I hope so. We'll see. I've got a couple things I'm trying to shop around right now, so I would love to do another Book It image. I really enjoyed working over there, getting published by Image. The trade paperback for the Schlub comes out in April, and I think it's up for pre-order now. So if you guys get your pre-orders in, that would help us out a lot. I would love you to buy 2 copies, you know, one for yourself and maybe one for a friend. Just give it to somebody that's maybe never read comics before, or give it to somebody who has. That's vicious right there, though. This bullet stuck in his forehead and that grimace. That's pretty awesome. I've been really just kind of thinking about faces a lot lately. His are kind of weird, but that's really nice. This Adam Polina cover, look at that. That is sick. Adam Polina was doing some really cool stuff around that time. I liked his stuff, how it was sort of rubbery and that the figures were sort of distorted a little bit. This is really cool painting. Oh, here's another one, man. These 2 big hands shooting at him and he's coming right out at us. That's really cool. So I'm doing a lot of figures too, and I think one of the keys is to have, well, I'm trying not to use black shapes too much on this page, but to have black shapes that kind of have a scale to them if you're going to do them. Like so like this black shape of his hand on his glove here is a big black shape, and then these are kind of smaller black shapes. So it kind of reads a little bit further away just by the virtue of being smaller shapes. And then these big fat lines on the foreground. So you got to think about line weight tonight. I'll be thinking about line weight. I might have to make some adjustments. I feel like there's another, oh yeah, look at that. About to throw down. This is great. I also love that he does have the kind of heavy black on Wolverine's sort of musculature, but on these guys he's smart to leave them more open line. I need to also try to do that. That's something to make note of mentally. And look at this. Oh yeah, man. That's what you want to see in a Wolverine comic right there. Just going to town. You can tell that this is kind of an influence on my stuff. It's, sort of the chaos of it, I think, is what I'm taking from it. Because the way I draw my figures and stuff isn't quite like Scrooge. His stuff has a more round and natural look to it. It's really great. My stuff's a little bit more exaggerated, I think. Right now, at least. And then he zooms outside of the window here. And so like, think about it like if this were a film, the equivalent might be, if it cut to this shot, you would also hear the sound be muffled on the inside, or you wouldn't hear any sound. You would just see the chaos happening in there. That's a really cool little break in the action. Oh yeah, more glass and bullets. This is cool. Okay, I'm feeling some grooves here. I might be able to start working on this. Hope there'll be a beefy sequel to Beef Bros. Hey, we'll see. Who knows, man? Oh, thanks, Fatal Jane. Thanks, Ike, for getting him on board. Yeah, the ending of the schlub. That was Kenny and Ryan all the way, man. That was that was their script, and I was like, all right, that's they definitely made a cool ending, and definitely leaves it open for potentially some more, because the problems aren't gone. That's so cool. That is so cool. Even just the decision on where he folded the hand up and how it intersects the face, and the overlapping of this into here. This is just great storytelling right here. That's really nice. Yeah, this is a cool one, and this one I don't feel like is very, it's not like it's not fondly remembered, I guess, but I don't feel like many people talk about it, so you can probably pick up the inks here at the end get really weird. You could probably pick this up pretty cheap. I think I got this one for like $5 or something. It's something really cheap. Cool. All right. So this is a 2-page spread I'm working on for ERIS issue 3. Definitely not going to finish this tonight. My goal is to maybe try to make some headway on this center section right here, because these sections are kind of coming along. I was feeling pretty overwhelmed and jumping around a lot, and then I was like, okay, I'm just going to go down and just go, pretty much go panel by panel. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you even what's going on here. This is a scene that's going to be in the upcoming issue, and it'll make sense when you read it. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it won't. It is one of my comics, so it is a tad bit weirder than maybe what a lot of people are used to. But yes, I'm just gonna, work on this and see what we can come up with. There's a lot of naked people here, so I apologize if anyone finds that weird. It is just paper, though. It's just ink on paper, so it's not gonna hurt anybody. So yeah, there's a lot of these naked people that they are fighting here. And just a minute ago, I was just kind of filling in some more pencil details, but I think I'm just going to go to ink for some of these here. There's not much there, but I want to keep it. I I want to try to keep these figures a little looser, so, and just kind of take my chances. But yeah, I'm glad you guys were able to finish up the schlub. Did anybody else have any thoughts on the ending? I feel like it was an appropriate ending. I wasn't sure what the guys were going to do because we had talked about a lot of different options depending on what the book was looking like and what our schedules were looking like. And I think at one point there was 3 different types of endings discussed, but 2 of them were kind of similar. I think Ryan ultimately chose that ending from what we had all sort of discussed. I don't like where I put that arm, but we're going to leave it there. Yes, like this, I'm hoping... I was hoping that... I've been, this book has been one I've had written and sort of known where I was going with it for like a long time, years and years. So it feels good to be close to the end. Because, I've been thinking about the end for so long, but not been able to get to it for so many good reasons, but just like I was really excited to get to this part because I've been just imagining it and dreaming about it and writing notes about it in my phone and then in the script and then just being like, oh my gosh, I really want to get to this part. So that it's tricky for me still to find the right spot to cut off the detail when I'm working on stuff. So sometimes when I'm working on one like this, I will I'll just kind of do some looser simple outlines to get rid of some of the ambiguity of where the figures are, and then I'll go in and erase a lot of the pencil, so then it's really stripped down to just the lines that I found there, and then from there I'll sort of build it up. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, is just sort of picking the lines I want to keep so that I can lose everything else, and then kind of start messing around with the line weights and stuff. When it's a busy scene like this, that's kind of, as much as it might seem weird to work that way, it's kind of like the way I found is best for me to work when I'm working on a big thing like this. In a perfect world, I would rather, get everything worked up a little tighter to some degree, and then kind of, find the figures in the first stroke and the line weights in the first stroke with the ink. But that's just not what I can do on this. Yeah, I don't like what I just did there. I think I wanted his arm going more this way. Yeah, that's where I wanted it. And then there is always going to be a lot of pro white and white out or whatever added to a lot of my stuff, because I still like to keep as much of the freeness as I can. I mean, I overdraw so much naturally that if I can keep some freeness in some of these background figures especially. But I know a lot of that's probably not coming through exactly on the camera, but you just wait until I get some erasing done here, and then you'll kind of see what I'm going for. I would like to get a newer camera, but unfortunately that is just not in the cards for me right now. I need to have a few changes first before that's gonna work. All right. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Is that a head? What did I draw there? I think I drew a decapitated head. Let's assume that's what it is. It's a safe assumption in my comics, so. Okay. Got an arm here. So I'm using a zebra brush pen, the what is it, the medium point? Or the fine point, I guess it would be. Okay, get this dude's head here. I also don't want to overdraw on, or do too much penciling on some of these figures, because I don't want to have to draw them twice, because it's so many figures I'm going to be doing on this. So I'm trying to let some of that be a little more, a little more, what's the word for it? Loose and impressionistic. And also, it kind of adds to some of the feeling of the book being kind of it's sort of a trippy book, and reality and stuff is sort of warped in it. All right, here we go. That's good. Okay, so now I'm actually gonna just erase this and kind of zero in on this part here. This is Darius. He's kind of the big guy of the team. This is a team book, and he has these sort of built-in things on his arms that he has. He can pull, generate these like shield things out of. So on his arms, he's got these shapes here, and then he can make these big shields and use them as weapons or to block people. So as you can see, a lot of violence here. But I like to kind of I always, I need to remind myself, I like it when some of the gore has a more kind of geometric feeling to it. So, all right, let's see what happens here. Let's just pull the trigger. Oh, I want one more thing right there. Okay. The other thing that helps in the case of this comic is that I'm also going to be coloring it. So sometimes there's things that I would do working on ERIS that I wouldn't do if I was working on, say, the Schlub, just because when you're coloring something yourself, you can kind of take some shortcuts. If that you're just like, oh, I know what I was doing here, and I decided to change it, or I know this is going to be colored really dark right here, and you can kind of take shortcuts. So it's not like Mike's twice the colorist I am. It's just more like if I was working with Mike, I wouldn't want to leave as much open, because then it's like it kind of makes his life more difficult, not knowing what the heck I'm trying to accomplish. Whereas if I have something go a little bit awry on an ERIS page as far as readability, I can always pop that back where it needs to be in the coloring process. So a lot of the colors I'm planning on this are going to have sort of a tone that's kind of all encompassing, and I can do a lot of the sort of modeling of the figure's faces in color if I need to, rather than doing it on here. Change the labor around a little bit. Oh yeah, I'm going to color this too, for sure. I always color my ERIS. Most of the stuff that I call my comics, that are just mine. I mean, obviously I write with my brother on this one, but, comics that I guess I'm in creative control of, I would love to do as much of the color as I can. Also, I just can't afford to pay anybody to do it. So if I do it, it's free, right? It's free for me to do it. That being said, I have on the last 2 issues used an assistant with help me with some flats on the first couple issues, and then on the second issue, my flatter, I stopped kind of calling her a flatter because she was more of an assistant. She was able to do a lot of really helpful things aside from flatting and help make some color choices and stuff. Terry, and so yeah, I do get help when I can afford it. We'll see what happens on this one. I might get Alex again if they are not too busy, and if I can afford to give them money that makes it worth it, But you guys don't care about all that. That's not your business, right? But yes, colors. I've been enjoying color more and more as time goes on too. I used to dread it. I didn't understand it, and I still don't think I understand it, but I'm having fun with it. So I think that's the thing, when everybody sees ERIS put together, they're going to see a big difference in the colors from issue 1 to issue 3. Because issue 3, I'm hoping to do even crazier stuff than I tried in 2, and 2 I felt like was a big kind of step forward. I still have so much to learn though. It's a forever, you're going to be trying to improve your skill set on those things. Okay, I am going to just put some shapes on here on these figures and try to just see what I can get to stand out without getting in there and noodling too much and trying to sketch everything. And then after I do some of these blacks, I will play with those line weights a little bit and maybe do some subtraction with the whiteout. I color with I colored issue 2 and a couple other things that I've colored recently. I just color in Procreate, and I'll pull it into Photoshop at the end and make some adjustments maybe, and I do all my pre-color adjustments in Photoshop, like the inks and stuff when I adjust the inks. But I color almost everything in Procreate, and I've been very happy with the results. So the program has been a little glitchy lately. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but I still, for what it is, it's still 100% my favorite digital art program, for my iPad at least. Because it does just enough that you don't get sidetracked with all the toys. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes if you have all these options, it makes it difficult to stop yourself from continuously, trying to do new things and use new tools, and and maybe can slow down the process. Whereas if you just don't have all those options, if you just have a stripped down thing, then sometimes it streamlines the process a little bit. Thank you, Eli. Max, how's it going, buddy? So I'm trying to also do different kinds of bodies on these figures here. So some are fit, some are not so fit. It's supposed to be just average to fit style bodies, not necessarily like super heroic type bodies here. Okay, that's kind of working for me. I'm liking that. I was really struggling with this earlier. I was really losing my cool. I just couldn't find any, nothing was working. Some days it just doesn't work. And honestly, that might be what happens tonight on the stream. I have no idea. But I promise not to lose my temper, okay? I promise. But earlier, I may have lost my temper. I get pretty worked up about it sometimes. And then I gotta kind of take a break for a minute. Be like, okay, all right, just chill. All right, I'm liking that. Let's give this guy a chin here. Give this person's leg a leg. Get some more. Just gore. Just some gore, So this book, though, will 100% be, unless something crazy happens, this will be a self-published book. And so when I am getting ready to release it, I'm going to need all the help I can to let folks know about it. Because it's hard out there, man. It's hard to get the word out these days. The social medias are tough, and, it's tough sometimes, but I'm optimistic. I think I've got a cool book here. So I'm just gonna get sidetracked right here with his hand really quick, because I just feel it calling out to me. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh. That feels good. Okay, back to the boring stuff. All right. Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. He's coming together. So sometimes too, I got to go back in because I'll use the brush to get sort of the big lines that I want, but then I need to make it connect up with these other areas, to try to keep it clean. Because if not, I end up just spending so much white out on here because there's already going to be a lot. It gives it texture and stuff though, which I really like on the original art. But over there. All right. Yep. Okay. Any new movies? Family doing okay, Jeremy? Good question. Sorry, guys, I got in the zone there for a second. Yeah, let's see. Well, I just rewatched Dune with my wife. We were both kind of getting excited to see the new one. So I know it's not new, but we watched it again. That was fun. And then we watched the Jodorowsky's Dune documentary, which is really awesome. I watched a little film earlier this week called The Minis, starring a lot of little people and Dennis Rodman. It was garbage. I recommend it. Family's doing good. My kid is almost healed up completely from her surgery. She is just doing great, healing up great. So that's really, really good to hear. And I appreciate all the positive thoughts everybody was sending. And yeah, we're good here. Just working. What about you guys? What's the new movies there? David Lynch one, yeah. I watched that one maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. I'd seen it before, but I rewatched it just because I'd seen the new one. And I was like, well, gotta recheck out that Lynch one again. And it's got a lot of good qualities. I would say the first half in particular is really fun and really inventive in the style of the effects and everything. But boy, oh boy, it kind of falls apart at the end. It's pretty bad. We'll see how the new one sticks its landing, if it does or not. Bleach. Oh, cool. I've never read all of Bleach. Yeah, the art's really cool in that. Oh, you hadn't seen Upgrade before, Jeremy Heiler? You mean Upgrade with what's his face in it, where he gets the chip in his head? Is that the Upgrade you're talking about? Because that movie rips. I love that movie. I know a lot of people maybe don't agree, but I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. The Iron Claw, yeah. I was talking to some buddies that are big wrestling fans, and they said it was a really good movie. They said they sort of had to make real life, real life was more depressing than the movie, so they had to change some things. But yeah, I need to see that too. It looks nuts. So, yeah, Upgrade, yeah. Yeah, Upgrade was one that I sort of rented on a whim or something at some point, and I remember I had seen the trailer, and it was like the same time as Venom was coming out, and I was like, I don't know, and then when I watched it, I was like, wow, this is like 100,000 times better than Venom. It built a really cool sort of sci-fi world that was sort of like, you know, I kind of like it when the futures aren't so like insane, you know, they're just kind of like now, but with some developments that have made things different. You know, the not too distant future. Well, I'm not crazy about that, but we'll fix that. We'll fix it. There's always a way. Just kind of going with the flow on that part. We'll see here. I don't know if I'm feeling that. I also think I am upset with my pen right now. Should I change pens maybe? Yeah, it felt real. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Okay. One thing at a time, right? One thing at a time. So, let's zoom in here for a minute. This is a number 2 micron. I kind of hated microns for a while, and now I've sort of come back around to them. They're just easy to use, you know? And so sometimes when you just want to get something kind of adjusted really quick. You don't want to pull out a nib. You don't want to, you know, get your brush just right. You just want to go in and just smooth it out. And so I do like them for that kind of stuff. I don't use them as much for like straight up drawing figures and stuff, I mean, unless it's like a super background character. It's kind of a fun little shape. Let's leave that there. See, that's not the, see right now, I should not be using that. That's not the tool. This is the tool for that. Well, I don't know. Something's not quite right on that, but we'll come back at it in a minute. So let's firm up these shields a little bit. I got so much stuff all over my desk here. Zac Efron looked... Yeah, he looks weird though, man. He looks a little too dehydrated. Yeah, Eli, sometimes the ink doesn't flow out of him good. That's absolutely true. And that's why I think I don't use them as much for like making straight up lines, because they just can't move as fast without losing the line, you know? yeah, we're definitely gonna work back into him here, because I'm not quite happy with how that turned out. It started off so well, and then I got a little cocky. I'm trying to think. I feel like I did just watch some other movie. Oh, I watched a documentary about, is that Pez Outlaw documentary about the guy who was like importing Pez illegally from other countries, Pez dispensers. It was kind of cute. It wasn't anything amazing, but it was funny. Worth checking out if you're looking for something that's easy. Sometimes you just need something easy, you know. What I've actually been doing instead of watching movies is finally trying to finish my playthrough of the Dead Space remake. So I'm hoping to get through. I have one more chapter left, so I'm hoping to get through that tonight or tomorrow. So I've been playing that, and I'm doing a playthrough of Mass Effect 2 because I like old games. You know, I like old games. You have a heavy hand, huh? Yeah, Micron maybe not best for you then. Alright, Eli, going to Emerald City. Oh, you're gonna love it, man. Emerald City is a really fun show too. It's got a great, usually has a great like variety of types of guests and stuff, and it's huge. I mean, it's probably like the third or probably like the fourth biggest show in the country, or third biggest. I've done it 3 times. I would like to do it again. It's just an expensive show for me because getting there is kind of an expensive ticket. So I don't think I'm going to go this year, but I'm hoping that maybe next year I can go, because it's been so long since I've been there. I haven't been since 2018. So okay, this one's too detailed, so we're going to stop on him. Okay. And we'll get the whiteout in here in a minute. Seattle's great. If you're there, if you're looking for a cool bar, there should be a place still there called Cannon, actually. And it's maybe going to be a wait, but boy oh boy, it is a really cool cocktail bar. A very cool cocktail bar. A little pricey, but worth the experience. And it's called the Cannon Bar. I mean, come on. Cannon? Come on. All right. Yeah, we'll gotta wait. I'll do that in a bit. Check it out. 20 minutes from the Gaming Center. Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah, Eli, every time I go to Seattle, I also have to get some donuts. Last time I stayed above a Top Pot Donuts. That's how bad it was. I was like, every day I'm like, oh, grab a donut. Strategy. The strategy is gain as much weight at the show as I can. Of course, shows take it out of me, man. I feel like I burn a lot of energy doing shows. It is just like standing and thinking and talking and crowds and stimulation, and it just takes it out of me, you know? And it always did, even before I was old. It was always just like I would have to decompress after a show. My social battery would burn out. But while I'm there, I'm having a good time for sure. And I love it when people come by to talk and hang out. So I hope some of y'all make it to C2E2. I will be at C2E2 this April. And the Schlub trade paperback will have just come out, so it'll be a great time to come get it signed. I'll have some variants there with me. I might even have some special things that are only available at the show. So I hope some of you folks can come out for that. We're just going to leave that there and see what happens. No one even probably knows what I'm talking about, but there's a weird spot right there. This is what goes on in your brain when you're doing this, is you're just like, oh, well, that's terrible. And you're looking at something that's like a millimeter by a millimeter. And it's like, dude, do you really think that people are looking that close at your stuff? I mean, even the people that love it aren't looking, you know. It's like you get obsessed with these silly things, you know, and they just... Like earlier today, I was very upset about a border that I drew. And I was like, oh my gosh, that border, ugh. But that's me. Any of you guys, I was going to see if anyone else had any Steve Scroce recommendations or anything that you've checked out by Scroce, or if you haven't, maybe we could get a few more recs out there. I think the first I saw his work was on... there was a Youngblood relaunch. One of the many Youngblood relaunches was Alan Moore and Steve Scroce. And it was wild, man. It was really cool. I think they only did like 2 issues maybe. And it was pretty wild. The art was great. And at the time, I was not aware of Steve Scroce when I picked it up, because I was a kid, I think. And I hadn't been reading any of his other stuff. And I was like, oh man, this guy is so cool. Okay, that's kind of working a little bit. Yeah, ASM. I know, right? It's like the Matrix kind of took him and Jeff away from comics for like 10 years or something, you know? And then they came back into the Burly Man stuff, which was, you know, it was okay. I didn't. I mean, I love Shaolin Cowboy, right? I mean, it's great. Doc Frankenstein was pretty cool, but it just was such a. I don't know. It came across as very like preachy in a way or something, and I don't even think it was meant to. I don't know. Maybe it was all thinly veiled, but you know, whatever it was, I didn't like it. The art was pretty good, but I felt like I had seen better stuff from Scrooge. But I did like the first couple issues were pretty good at least. Sorry, you gotta lean in here. Get this guy real quick. There we go. I like him. That turned out about as good as I could have hoped. Yeah, I think you're right about that, Jeremy. Yeah, there seemed to be, and maybe it was like a difference in the level of detail or the level of kind of finesse on the individual sort of lines. He was more efficient, I think, which can be really nice, but you know, that efficiency sometimes takes away from some of the romantic kind of ways of drawing, you know. Don't get me wrong, he's still a master, you know, 4 times the comic artist I am, but, you know, if we're going to nitpick or talk about favorites. Okay, I'm starting to see it again. Oh, that's the other thing I watched. I watched the Ric Flair 30 for 30, which was really cool. I hadn't seen it, and I'm a big Ric Flair fan, so which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing to watch that documentary if you're a Ric Flair fan, because it's like he's kind of a terrible person. He's like an awful person, but it's kind of like who he was, you know, as a wrestler too. So he's the king, though, man. He was awesome. Ric Flair was awesome. Okay, I think I want to put some white out on this because then I can really make the last couple of decisions about this area right here. Yeah, oh yeah, so he's in the Iron Claw, I guess. Yeah, I guess I should check that out for sure. Okay, let's grab our white. As usual, I'm using Pro White and this brush that I just decided was my favorite brush for the last like 5 years. What is this? A Scepter Gold 2 00. I think I just got it in at the art store and was like, let's see what this does. So let's get in here and do some work. I also bought some scratch board ages ago that I hadn't used yet because I used to love that when I was a kid. And I did a little scratch board the other day, which was pretty fun. I didn't have all the right tools to really do it justice, but it's sort of fun to just work in reverse like that sometimes, you know, where you're scratching the white into the black. But I had a good time anyway. It was fun. Brought me back. Maybe I'll have to do some more of those. This is pretty normal for me. I usually end up doing a lot of addition and subtraction back and forth. Oh, bummer. Oh, nice, Andrea. You got some scratch boards too. Aren't they fun? They're just so fun. I like that old stuff, you know? I like the other thing I've been using in my, like, honestly has been useful to me has been the carbon copy paper. We used to use that all the time in art class when I was in junior high or whatever, especially because like so many kids, like they would learn, we would trace, you know, and transfer things to different, you know, like, oh, take your drawing and put it onto a canvas or whatever, and I use that carbon copy paper all the time now. I use it all the time when I'm moving things around on a piece or something. Well, it's always like, where do you want the lines, you know? That's the question, is where do you want the lines? Once you figure that out, that's all you need. This is probably not the most thrilling thing to watch, but you know, like I said, the fight scenes are going to be epic in this. Here, let me turn this here. Carbon paper, yeah, exactly. That was the other thing I would do, Dre. It was like I would, you know, just trace it on the back with a pencil, and then you just roll it over and transfer it. And I was like, well, the carbon copy paper takes out one step. You know, it takes out one step. And it does a pretty solid transfer, actually. And so it is like, you know, it's a pretty solid transfer if you press hard, especially. But I was surprised at how well it transferred when I used it again, because it had been, I don't know, 30 years since I had used carbon copy paper, and then I ordered it like last year. I've also been I'll draw with my daughter sometimes. and just use whatever kind of colored pencils or crayons she has, and that's really fun too. It really is kind of like there's certain results you can only get with those tools. And so I've done a bunch of these like colored pencil drawings of like dragons and Weedians and all these different things while I'm drawing with her. And then she'll make me draw like a unicorn or something, or like Princess Elsa. It's always Elsa. Yeah, that's looking good. I like that her arm's all twacked right there. Oh, cool. Jeremy's drawing. What are you working on, man? Yeah, I love watching people work or just working with other people. It's fun. I haven't had a studio day in a minute with another person. The last one was with my buddy Derek. And that's always fun, man. I always have a good time having a studio pal for a day or something. Not every day. I like to work alone most of the time. But it is fun when you can just get another person in, kind of vibe off each other a little bit, sort of just kind of, feed off each other's energy a little bit. I think it's actually vital. I mean, it's good to work alone a lot too, of course, but I think it's really important to get other people around you and in your space and go into their space and sort of just see how they work and, spend some time around each other. And you can learn a lot just from that. You don't even have to be too intentional about it. You can just kind of say, let's hang out, let's draw or whatever. It's one of my favorite things to do. Okay, that's sort of better, but I wasn't happy with what I decided up here. I try not to second guess myself too much, but sometimes you just kind of have to, you just gotta chip away to find what you're looking for. And it's not necessarily like bad, it's just it might take a couple passes to kind of figure something out. And then hopefully you end up with something that is just the best it can be. But it is a path, and sometimes it is a battle. Like I said earlier today, I was not having a good day. Of course, I also got my tax bill. That never makes you feel good either. But you just I had to step away for a little while and kind of not work for a minute. Which was perfect because I was supposed to be watching my daughter anyway. So she was in class for part of the day, so I did get a couple hours in today before this, but this is sort of my only real work time today. That's shaping up now. See, that's more how I want it now, and that's not what I was going to do in the first place. So we'll call that little snafu a win. Happy accidents, man. Just like the king says, Bob Ross. Just be open to those happy accidents. And it keeps the work more interesting for me, and I hope that it makes it more interesting to look at than the people. And heck, I sure do admire an artist that can just make everything look so perfect and clean. But, I like that there's some more character when you've had a little bit of not a struggle necessarily, but some sort of time spent with it, figuring it out. You know, seeing all the little pieces of wood being chipped off. A Splinter comic. Awesome, Jeremy. Cover ideas, Eli. Cool. Get that portfolio going. Ah, yes, a drink and draw. I have not been to one in a minute. I need to get out and go to one. It's been a little more challenging now with a kid, but I used to go to 3 or 4 different ones. You know, not every week, but I really had a good time going to those. I did one at a tattoo shop for a while. It was really fun. I would really like to do some of those again. So I'm not shy with the Pro White, as you guys can see. I'm just like, let's get it in there. Let's use it. Let's do it. Okay. That's kind of shaping up, shockingly. I am shocked, because I was about ready to start over earlier today. My wife was in here, and I was like, I don't know, I'm just going to start over. And she's like, what? No. It's just like, no. What are you talking about? And so I didn't, and here we are. That feels good. That feels pretty good. I don't like, that's the other spot. I was kind of, her head. Alright. I've also been trying to be a little bit better with my neck had been hurting, I think I've mentioned, and I did see somebody about it, getting a little bit of help, so it's been feeling better. Got a little adjustment, been doing some PT stuff. I told the guy, I was like, I just want to do whatever I can to make it so I can draw for, like, you know, a lot more time before I break completely. And luckily they said I was in pretty good shape as far as my neck and everything and the x-rays, so I was like, cool. Just need to actually exercise a little more, stretch. It's important. You sit down so much these days, and it's not ideal for your body, so this guy's funny. I like this little guy over here. So ERIS has a whole lot of action. Hopefully some cool world building for folks to enjoy. And some trippy stuff. And you know, this chapter is the thrilling conclusion. So I'm really excited to wrap up kind of, you know, the story of these dudes. Oh, I forgot about his head over here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, what am I forgetting before I put this whiteout away? Because you know how it is. Every time I put it away, I'm like, oh, cripes. I forgot about this part. helps. Let's check my borders here again. Yeah, So now I can get in here and really just sort of decide on some line weights and add some clarity and spots. And then this little piece will be looking good. But first, this guy's head is way too small. Okay. Pretty good. Pretty good. I did not think I was going to get that. Gotta believe in yourself. Oh, I just replayed Parappa the Rapper, of course. That was fun. Okay. Oh, you know what? One more thing. Okay, maybe two more things. I think I've mentioned this before, I kind of jump around a lot on the page. I mean, just the fact that I'm trying to do one panel at a time right now is kind of different for me. So okay, folks, I'm going to wash this brush. I'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, and then I will answer these questions that I just saw here. Okay. Let's see. Matt Zolman, how many hours am I into this piece? That's tricky to say, because I was thumbnailing it for a long time on my iPad. This specific page, I mean, I started working on it on paper just yesterday. I started working on it on paper, but I had done the thumbnails, you know. The thumbnails probably took a good 8-hour day, maybe, if you put all the little times I worked on it in little sections together, as far as like the thumbnailing kind of process that I do. So yeah, I don't know. However many hours that is. I try not to think about it as much on my stuff. I mean, I obviously want to get done at a certain time for the whole book, but you know, one of the things I like about working on my own stuff is that I don't have to rush something. I mean, I do because I need to make money, but I don't have to rush like this page if I don't want to. You know, I can just take my time and kind of make it what I want it to be. So I tend to think about it a little less. Whereas, say, when I'm working on a book for hire and I want to be on schedule and stuff, that's very important to me. I make sure I get a certain number of pages done in a week to meet my deadline. And so it might not be that every page takes 8 hours or something or 10 hours. It's more that some pages will take 5 hours and some will take 16 hours. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that, with these ones, it kind of balances out in some ways because the other pages don't always take as long as some of these ones. And I really like to have these ones be star pages that feel like big moments, mostly for the narrative, but also just for me to have fun doing trying to make a big thing happen. And this entire sequence, actually, not even just this spread, but the whole sequence, I have this sort of big plan for how it's supposed to work, and I really hope that people dig it and enjoy it, because it's oh man, I've been thinking about it for so long, like I was saying, and now I'm finally able to do it, and it's been really fun to kind of finally put some of these ideas I've been trying to work on into practice, because it's one thing when it's in your head and you're like, oh, this will be so cool, and then it's another thing when you're trying to actually pull it off. And what I mean by that is that it's like more exciting when it's finally like happening. You're like, oh my gosh, here we go. We're gonna see if we can do this. And so I'm trying some new things. I'm always trying some new things, and hopefully people dig it. I think you guys will. If you like any of my other work that you've seen as far as the Schlub and ERIS, I think that you will dig this new issue of ERIS, because it's got a lot of my landmarks in it as far as style and content goes. And then after that, we'll see. I've got a few things lined up that I cannot talk about, and they are not going to be what anybody expects. So, but they are going to be awesome. You gotta sort of just go with the flow and see where things take you, Hopefully I'll have some announcements soon. I'll definitely be doing some big announcements hopefully next week. If you're not on my newsletter already, you're going to want to get on that, because not only is that the first place you hear about art drops and commission lists and all that, I also announce things like new products or sales, and I got some things I've been planning, so I would recommend getting on the list now if you're not already. And then hopefully soon I'll have my C2E2 information, and I can tell people where they can find me at the show. I'll be tabling with my friend Landis Blair yet again, my buddy Landis. We always table together. And he's a great guy. Looking forward to that. I just saw this new drawing Landis did, and oh boy, oh boy. Oh, you know what? Some people from last week might wonder about... I probably am not supposed to show it yet, actually. I finished the extremity piece I was working on, and hopefully it will be able to be shown soon. But I don't have the paperwork yet from them about what I'm supposed to show, so we'll just leave that in the drawer for now. But as soon as I can show it, I absolutely will. But you guys, if you look at last week's stream, you'll see some of the work I was doing on that as far as the layout and stuff. It's funny, guys, I did all those layouts, and everybody had some really good suggestions about which ones they liked. But I ended up doing something totally different than what I did on those layouts. I had this just sort of moment of like, oh, well, this will work. Like I was just drawing on paper And I was like, oh, here we go. Like, this will work. I'll do this. And I'm really happy with the results. So, all right, let's connect in some of these areas. And then this is the other spot I wanted the white out, and I just saw it. I'll get it later. It's the disadvantage of working like this, is I kind of just miss things sometimes. It's more fun though. This is more fun. Yeah, looking forward to purchasing. Yes, please. Oh, my style changes all the time, Jeremy, and I hope it continues to change. I've said before, I don't think that's maybe the best business plan for me, but I want to keep evolving. And I would say in ERIS, like when you see the 3 issues together, you'll see sort of an evolution. The way I've been thinking about it to make myself, excited about the book is like Luther Strode, like if you read all the Luther Strode books, you can see that trad evolves, but it always looks like trad, and it's always good, And so that's kind of what I feel about ERIS, is that there is a shift in the style as I grow as an artist because it's been 4 years since I've started this, but I've just had other projects come along, and so yeah, there's been definitely a shift in my style, but I think the early issues still look really cool, and I'm excited for it all to be in one spot. I think lately my style's been shifting into I've been really trying to lean into the abstraction more, especially on my own stuff, and the heavier blacks, and what else? I'm trying some new things with my heads and my face shapes and stuff. I just did a pitch with Kenny, writer of the Schlub, and I tried some different things there, which I showed some of those pages on a stream in the past. But yeah, I think it's good to change and evolve. I don't think you should stick with one style, because you'll get bored of it eventually, and then if you're any good, you'll have 10 clones doing your style, and Okay, I'm starting to like this again. We'll see how I feel about it in the morning, but right now I'm liking it. Let's see, we can probably chip away at a little more something for maybe 10 more minutes. I'm not sure if that answered your question, Jeremy, but yeah, I mean, the simple answer is yes, my style has changed, and I would say recently it's, if you look at the Schlub number 1 and then look at the Schlub number 6, I think you'll see sort of how my stuff has evolved recently. I'm really pleased with my evolution while I was working on the series, and I think that especially the stuff I was doing in 5 and 6 really feels like some of my best work, and well, until ERIS is done. But yeah, I mean, that stuff just really feels like my best work to date, and so I would recommend checking that out if you haven't. Okay. Maybe I'll do a little bit of stuff on Jubal over here. I don't think I'm ready. Well, yeah. Well, maybe I'll just do this one little. Maybe I'm feeling this guy up here. You're a dandy if you do. Yeah, sure. I didn't ruin that. Yeah, okay, that'll work. All right. We'll drink of water. We're going to do a little bit on Jubal here, and then I might need to take a break and go play some video games. You know, have a life again. And this leg, this breast and this leg here. Okay, so I really like how this hand is looking, so I'm going to try to leave it alone so I don't just make it worse. Focus on how I can highlight it here. Okay, so I think what I want to do is use like a single layer hatch under here up to that hand. I'm going to see how that looks. I think that's going to work. I like to keep these really weird and abstract looking. You know, the motion becomes shapes, you know, and the shapes distort in space. And it's fun to draw it like that. Oh, yes. See, these lines I was really happy with. It's good to get in and kind of pop them out there. Sort of energy that comes off of his armor. They all have this armor, and there's kind of an energy that pops off of it while they're fighting. At least that's what I've been doing, and I think I'm going to continue doing that. Might need the brush for that. See, now that's weird, guys. That's weird. Don't you love it? Don't you want it to be weird? Shouldn't comics be a little bit weird all the time? I think so. All right, let's give him this thing here. That'll help. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. There he is. Okay, all right, that's good, that's good. my wife and I got our tickets to see the new Dune movie. I think I mentioned that. Very excited. I really enjoyed the part 1. So it's been like the music has been sort of playing in my head like while I've been working lately. All right, Jeremy, thanks for stopping by, buddy. Enjoy your sleep, sir. And you know what? I think I'm going to have to call it here, too. I really appreciate everybody hanging out, taking part in the process here, being witness to the muse, trying to show us what we got to see. And I will hopefully be on again next week, and maybe I'll be working on some more ERIS, actually. I mean, that would not surprise me, because I have a lot of it to do. So, and I'll probably dig some other cool comics out to show off. I might even have a new artist edition or 2 next week to show off. So if you guys want to swing by, that would be a good time to do it. But again, you can like and subscribe, hit the bell, all that kind of stuff. You can check out my comics on tyrellcannon.com. And what else should you know about? You can follow me on the social medias. T-Cannon Comics is where I'm at on all the social medias. So, all right, everybody. I'm glad I'm part of the gym.